All right, hello and welcome. This is Volehammer 40K, episode 3. This is really, I was going to show how to use role-playing games to inspire your creation of comic stories, and I'm going to continue with that theme. I actually drew the characters. If you've been following episodes 1 and 2, you can see I came up with the idea for 4 characters. That's this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. And then their side character is going to be this mentor who has a bow and is a little different than the others. And there's no such thing as spoilers when we're going to talk about actually designing this, so he's marked for death. We're going to kill this character off. If you recall, let me get my trusty Trapper Keeper. Keeping it real. We're constantly referring back to our, let's see if I have it. To this. This is our general plot line. And, you know, writing it down is a good way to do it. I don't always write it down. Sometimes I just have it in my mind, like what the plot of the comic is going to be. And the comic, the game kind of informs how the plot's going to go. But just to review, we have our group of 5 hunter-gatherers going on a gathering or hunting mission. They go into the woods. We can see that the world is a weird post-apocalyptic world. We're going to see that in the scenery of the comic. They find tempting prey, which I've determined is going to be some kind of weird mutant elk. It's going to look like almost, well, I'm going to draw it today. And then an unfamiliar situation happens when they split up like they're going to hunt the elk, and then bandits attack and kill off their guide. And then that's when the story begins. And then we have these 5 other, 5 parts of the story that are going to go on. And I've actually planned them all out, that they're going to adapt to the situation. They're going to get what they want, I think, which is escape from the bandits. They're going to pay a heavy price, which we're not sure what's going to happen. There's a return to familiarity and having changed. We'll figure all that stuff out. The comic story will change over time as you draw it. You notice I don't have a script here. This is like a plot outline. Is what we're gonna call it. So let's move this to the side. And actually, step 3 for me usually involve let's get started, right? So the size I want to do this is I made this is 2160 by 2160 pixels. I have a couple of these set up down here. I call them Instagram Toon, Instagram Landscape, and Instagram Portrait, and this is so we can make the comic in Instagram. Those are the optimum sizes. It's important to note you can't mix them. If you're going to do square pages, every page must be square. If you're going to do the portrait ones, every portrait must use those dimensions. And those dimensions, by the way, are 2160 by 2700. That's 2 up, by the way, so when you actually upload it to Instagram, it's going to shrink it down by half, which will account for some of your, if you have a looser style, it'll tighten it up a little bit. I want to do this one square, though, so this will be our first page. And I haven't even designed the enemies yet. I haven't designed the elk. I want to have the elk be part of this story. For Instagram and for webcomics, I don't think you need necessarily a margin, like a bleed margin, because you're not printing it. That's the real use of this. By the way, what brush am I using? Technical pen. Alright, it's just felt like a little bit thick of an outline, but I guess you're right. It's fine. And generally, if you're going with these kind of big one-panel pages, you don't even need to do multiple panels. And for the splash page, for the first page, you don't usually do that anyways, or at least I don't do it anyways. But you can do what you want. And it may be that we're going to do an inset panel, but let's think about what we want to do for our beginner. our opener panel, I've got 2 layers, and I've got the second layer is my quote-unquote pencil layer. Referring, these are our models. Even though I didn't do full-body models, we want to lay out where all the characters are and who they are and you know, it's kind of funny because I'm following Donald DeLay. He's one of my favorite cartoonists, and he doesn't like the use of film terms in comics at all. In fact, he's quite adamantly against it. But recently, in a Kubrick class that I took, Giovanni Valletta referred to this thing called a master shot, which is in film, it's like when you have all of the characters kind of established in one shot. Even the word shot is like more of like film. But it's hard to get away with using this technology because this terminology, because I think it's done damage. And the damage, an example of damage done by film to comics is the obsolescence of thought bubbles. They're replaced by narrative boxes, which are meant to be like a voiceover in a movie, right? But I like the idea of establishing everybody in a shot, and it's certainly been used in comics since long before, it was used in film. You can look at old Golden Age comics and, the old Justice Society of America, and you could see them all kind of gathered around their table planning stuff out, So it's not like they were studying film school stuff to figure that stuff out. So we want to establish each one of these 5 characters, including our leader. And we want to establish what they're doing and a little bit about the world. I think we should have them already hunting. And, this is trees. Wait, can you see this? What if I make it bigger? Okay, I've got these trees, and we're going to have all of them. They're stalking their prey. They're hunters. Oh, by the way, the name of this comic, I also wanted to figure. That's also a good idea to have a title for your project. Wait, so I want to call it. I want to call it Hunter Gatherer, but I thought it might be fun. It's like the anime version. This would be called Hunter X Gatherer, but I think that's actually kind of a cool idea too. So let's use that font for right now. Hunter X Gatherer, and let's make it real big. Select all. And how do we make it bigger? Let's make it bigger. I think it's good that way. One way to get an interesting shot on the font is, first of all, you can do the outlined version of the font, at least with Procreate. There's other ways to do it. And then also select the arrow tool and use warp. And then suddenly you can get a custom version of what you're trying to do. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to keep this version of the logo, but it's not bad, and you could even resize it now, Hunter X Gatherer. Cool, man, right? All right. Leave that on its own layer. In case you really do want to go with that, you're going to want to save that off later so you can reuse it in future comics. All right. All right, let's go back to our other layer. This is the so-called pencil layer. Name your layers too. It's just helpful. I got room for 3. I've got my comedy relief is going to be Zug and Burke, which are our 2 mutants. Is it cool to have them as comedy relief? And our leader is going to be in the middle, even though we're kind of going to pulling a little bit of a trick here. Sec male here. We're going to center the character that gets killed off, and we don't want to go too far with this, because you when you really spin up an audience's expectations, you might think it's very clever of yourself that, oh, I got them interested in this one character, then I killed him off. I'm just like George R.R. Martin. No, you're not. you're doing a bad thing there. You're probably doing a bad thing there. So Zoog has a natural advantage because he's a tree guy. But I was just thinking about this character. He's the only one that's a gatherer and not a hunter. So and that's just in the game. And remember, we're not really playing the game. We're just using the game to inspire us. But wouldn't it be cool if we said, okay, yeah, Zoog is actually, I mean, he's a vegetarian. He's not like a meat eater. So he's him joining this hunting group. He's joining as a gatherer, but he's helping them do the hunting for whatever reason. I had the idea for this really primitive looking mask that's basically big circles and then almost the same size as circle. That's too low. Let's put it right up here. This is almost like what were those spirits called in Princess Mononoke? I can't remember what they're called, but it's kind of the similar like concept. I think that was where I was going. And also there's Zelda the Wind Waker is one of my favorite games. I actually completed that game back in the day. I haven't played it in probably 12 years or so, but I did like it. So there's Zoog, and we want to make sure that we understand that Zoog is a humanoid plant. I think I'm already working against myself by giving him a mask, but let's make it a bit smaller. Oh, another thing I thought about with Zoog is to make him like Hobbit size, like we'll make him like he's 4 feet tall or something like that. It kind of makes him a little bit cuter than like Groot was. He's big. I like the Marvel Kirby kaiju version, back in the day in Strange Tales, where you would have all these monsters, and that's where Groot, of course, comes from. But in this case, oh yeah, we have him like kind of leaning on a tree branch, searching outwards. Our leader. One great clue that we could give for our leader is if he was looking through a pair of binoculars. And I actually don't know how to draw. I mean, I can draw it from the side, but drawing it from the front, once again, it's wireframe. If he's holding it with one hand, thumb would be back. Maybe something like that. Does that say binoculars to you? You can't answer me. It's just a video. Okay, hold on. And oh, he's got his hand reassuringly on Zoog here. I thought it'd be interesting to have him have some tattoos on his head. That's how I drew him. And then to show that he's older, I'm giving him a mustache. We want to emphasize the youth and the relative inexperience of the other group, right? By not making them look too old, not making them look too jaded. And that's an important part of how we're going to draw them. Okay, wait, I'm not sure we're getting it looks like goggles right now. Okay, there we go. All right. Our leader has better gear. So we've got Zug. I don't like this idea as his shoulder. I think we want to have his... There we go. And then, so one of these, I think this will be sec male here. This is our female character. And she's a mutant. And then Krogon is a pure strain human. So he's, like I said, he's our Commandy. He's our Tarzan. I tried to sort of channel Jan Michael Vincent when I was sketching him on the other page. If I show you the test print here, did not get it, but he at least looks like a, you know, sort of a high school miscreant with his long hair. You know, we're gonna give him a bit of a mullet and a headband. Like, a headband is totally, you know, out of style now, but I used to say something about a character. You give him a headband. You know, like Rambo had a headband, right? And we're going to give him kind of sharpened features. We're assuming that our leader, who I haven't named yet, I've got to figure out a name for him. We want to show that as well. With Krogon, just because it was in the game, we're going to emphasize that he has a fur cloak. Like, in game terms, that just gave him like a +1 armor class or something. Oh, I liked. I gave him a necklace with these teeth on it, and the idea here is. It kind of shows that he's not completely inexperienced. Like, maybe he's done a little bit of hunting or something like that, but he's still going to be listening to our leader. Maybe they're related. Maybe that's his father, right? You know, so you got to start thinking about the terms, things like this. And remember, you know, the traditional way of doing things, of course, is to go and have a full script written, you know, with each panel sort of broken out, and of course we're not doing that. This is the script, like this, like what you're seeing on the page now is the script, and it's also the thumbnail. And you know, if we settle on this, if we decide, you know what, this guy, he's in the wrong place, I'm just gonna erase him. This also becomes the page eventually when we ink it, you know, because this is a preliminary page, right? Okay. It's important to show their spears. This guy's spear. Oh, the other thing is these spears are not metal spears, so we want to show that they're flint napped. I think that was the word I was looking for the other day. Flint nap spears. And if I were to look at my trusty trapper keeper, like, one guy has like a stone club or something. It might have been him that has the stone club. The other thing one of the things that we're trying to establish when we're designing our characters is interesting silhouettes, which is, I always try to do that, and it's kind of funny, I got a bit of a criticism for it when I was doing my Phantasmagoria ones, because I gave a guy a hairstyle that was like up here. You know, I gave him like this sort of peaked hairstyle, and people just didn't get it. It's like, why would you do that? And it's like, well, it's because you could show them in silhouette and everybody would know who it was. So you notice I've given her this kind of these crazy things over here. In a sense, we're trying to show that these are primitives or new primitives, right? These are survivors of some kind of crazy cosmic apocalypse, and we haven't even completely built the world yet. I think we're going to show that there's magic as well as science in this world. I can't remember if I gave her a necklace or something. I do know that I gave her really kind of sensuous lips there. Regular eyes. She looks a bit young here. Let's make her a little bit more voluptuous. She's a lady. All right, here we go. She's got a spear too. And what about our other guy? Okay. So Zug is intriguing because he's a plant. Sekmail is a mutant, but she's not obviously a mutant yet. Although she is going to be, you know, that's going to be one of the major plot points, I believe. In the game, her only mutant power was she had red skin. That was it. And it made me immediately think of the Red Martians, like Edgar Rice Burroughs. Oh, I also gave her, you know what I gave her? I gave her some earrings. Did I give her a necklace? I did. I gave her a necklace with a moon on it. I think that would be important too. Well, I made her ears really kind of long. I'm not sure I'm getting Krogon exactly right like the other thing, but you know, it is what it is. All right, here's this necklace with the moon. And then this is going to be Burke. Now Burke is a human mutant, but he has like these weird, I had to come up with, he's supposed to be like, I used the word like misshapen. I was just going to have him be, he's kind of like the Shaggy of this setting. I want to use him as comedy relief along with Zug. And I had this idea, if you look at the picture back here, in fact I may not have got his face very good at all. I had the idea of having these sort of like protuberances, almost like a troll. He's got these weird kind of little protuberances. So we know he's obviously mutated, but we don't know what that means. In this case, it doesn't mean anything. He's just a guy. Other than cosmetically, he's just a guy. And that's certainly my my idea for the influence is that he's like a troll. Okay, same deal with Burke. He's got a spear. Maybe he's got the spear down here. And they're hiding behind brush and stuff. And then I made the leader a bit smaller than everybody else. You know what? We should make him a bit bigger. So we can do that. He's a little bit farther forward. He's going to have like a camouflaged hunting cloak. And he's a bit more civilized. Or at least he's got better stuff. He's got better gear. Than these others. Okay. I could change it. Maybe I'll give him even a shield or something. I don't know. Maybe he wears like a armband. Or something like that. We'll have to figure out like the remnants of a t-shirt or something like that. I don't know. If we give him a t-shirt, you know, we could start doing some funny things by giving him like a concert t-shirt. You know, like Ramones or something. Like, you know. And that would be kind of fun. So I might do something like that. Okay. On this splash page, they've anybody who's talking gets a slightly open mouth. You can be talking. And let's have everybody say something, except for maybe Zug. Well, you know what might be fun for Zug is he talks in like a weird, you know, I don't know what Zug has to talk weird. He's got to be like key up somehow, you know, something weird. All right, let's start with the flow. Let's go back to I'll put another layer in here because we're going to erase this layer. The flow is going to go like this. So we're going to read speech, 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 speech. Maybe I'll put it here. And then speech. And this one can't be that important because we might end up skipping him and going here to here, but then we'll go back. So as long as you don't make this one important, it could go like an alternate path this way. And you'll notice we also don't have a whole heck of a lot of room. We have, I don't know, whoops, let's delete that. We have a little bit of room. Our font size, a couple other tips here. Choose a font size and stick to it. And you know, it may be that you suddenly end up squeezed and you got to, you know, you'll say you chose 12 and you end up squeezed. You can go down to 11 if you really need to, but you don't want to. You don't want to do that if you can get away with not doing it. But don't switch the font size every panel or anything like that. All right, I got a couple of favorite fonts. I like one called Evil Genius. Over here, in this case, lately I've been using something called Ready for Anything, which I think is a classic. The only problem it has with Ready for Anything is that the leading is not great. So let's come up with some things. There it is, right? And let's call it 12. Actually, you know what? It's called 11. Not bad at 11. Okay. Okay. Perfect. That's a see. Look at the leading is by the way the space between. Let's see, plus 5. Did I get it? But it's going to be minus. Okay, minus 5. There we go. So when you're stacking your lines on top of each other, let's change your facial expression. She's going to say, whoops, I'm going to make it a little bit different. I'm going to redo her eyes. What they're looking at, I think, is going to be the elk that they're hunting. Oh. And with each speech bubble, you have to give a new piece of information. You should not be saying the same thing over and over again unless that's the whole point, to emphasize it. So he says there it is, and she's going to say, I think it's too beautiful to hunt. Right? And then we'll 11, right? Because we're doing the same. And 5, there we go. Looks like we're going to run into problems with her spear, but that's fine, it's fine. Let's put it right there. Let's skip Zug for right now. We're going to do the leader, and he's going to say something. He's got to name her. We're going to give a little bit of his personality. Aye, Captain. And also the name of the female character. Aye, sick male. But she'll provide meat and furs for our tribe this winter. And her horns. That's a lot of text right there, actually. But I feel like we've gotten a good bit from him. Five, okay, boom. So it's got to stack up like that. So we're gonna. That's fine right there. To do this, okay, what's the lead's name? That's the other problem. I never named the leader. I want to use the name from what's the name of the character from Last of the Mohicans? We're gonna use his name. We'll use the name. Leatherstocking. That's a good name. But she's big and dangerous. $11, right? And then also 5. I've been informed that it's actually pronounced letting. How do I know? Okay. That one looks like it's the best balance right there. All right, what does Zug say? I think it would be fun he speaks in nonsense words. He's just gonna say gribble gribble. But like it's kind of like the droids in Star Wars. Inexplicably everyone understands him. So 11, gribble gribble. And I'm going to leave it on the same line because I think it works pretty good that way. Yeah, it works okay. I could do it like this, 5. All right, yeah, I could do it like that. Actually, it's fine that way. And once you have your you've got your text over there. I mean, we couldn't fit anything else on there. When you've got a panel that's set for this, this is as much as you're going to go with. So this is our first page, and we would eventually throw in, hang on, a special layer for bubbles, and then we're on the technical pen, and we would say, we would just circle each one of these, And it could be that I'm going to be moving some of those spears out of the way. Right? Or messing with the art, which we could totally do. Like, we can, remember, we can take this art and we can do all kinds of things with the art. In fact, maybe that's the best way to do it, actually. Something like that. Makes it a bit smaller. So, remember to like, follow, and subscribe, and I'll show you more of how we draw Hunter x Hunter. This is a series on using role-playing games to come up with stories and how those stories can be sort of fully realized. I don't have anything pre-planned for this. Like, you see me creating it as we're on the video. You know, sometimes I think about it after the video's over, but this is how the sausage is kind of made here. Oh, I like this better because I can fit more of his cloak in. Look at that. Let's put a protective hand. I want to establish the shot that these guys are together. Okay, like, follow, subscribe. Hunter x Gatherer is go, and next time we'll see on Volehammer number 4. We're gonna see what happens next. All right.